Dharma request. All right. So here we go. Let's make 3 bows. Yi Wenxun, Zai Wenxun, San Wenxun. Okay, Chen Yu, if you would like to, please go ahead and request the Dharma now.
恭敬大德三体，为此法会集一切众生，请转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死，离苦得乐。速证无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to live suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samya sambuddhoshe.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samya sambuddhoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. 好的，陈玉感恩 thank you, Chen Yu, for the Dharma request. I accept and be happy to investigate with all of you another couple episodes in the life of Master Empty Cloud through his picture biography. Okay, if you 如果各位要听一种流利的中文的翻译的话，你们的软体那里那个软件的控制板那个右下角有一个小地球 interpretation， 就按到那里可以听到中文And if you would like to hear a Vietnamese translation, please go to the chat box here, click in the link there, and that will take you to a Vietnamese translation. So you can hear what I'm saying in English translated into fluent, perfect Vietnamese. So please do. I hope you all will. Furthermore, if anybody would like to do the Dharma request next time, there is a link there. Send an email over to Chen Yu, and she will set you up to listen to be the Dharma requester. And if you only do one language, we'll be happy to supply the second language. All righty. Okay, that's our protocols. Let's get going here. We would like to acknowledge respectfully the Kombu-Meri people of the Ugambi language region. That's here on southeastern Queensland, as traditional storytellers and custodians of the land where our monastery is located. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people worldwide whose sovereignty was never ceded. 就说我们恭敬地承认与冈比语族的孔布马里人，是我们寺院，就是我们Queensland 的东南角这里，我们的道场所在地的传统叙事者和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没有放弃主权的第一民族的原住民致敬。 Yes, indeed. All right. Um, we had a first last week. I fulfilled a promise, which was I wanted folks to hear the Chinese original bell song. And I happen to have one on my, let's see, here we go, on my phone that I had recorded back in Berkeley. And here we go. That's what I want. And so I played it last week, the Chinese original, and it's about 5 minutes long. And it's very adorned, very ornate, and full of the mellifluous, that's the word, the way when a Chinese monk sings, uh, you can hear the uh, the resonance back through the centuries, back through the millennia, thousands of years of Chinese monastic music in this bell song. It's a simple little tune, but wow, the tradition has got the most out of those notes. Um, I rashly said, I'll try to learn it Chinese style. I don't know that I can. I think my voice is way too Midwestern, flat and straight, kind of, da 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 da, Christian hymns style to ever do justice to the beauty of that Chinese melody. So anyway, I let folks hear it. I'll be playing it one more time tomorrow during our uh, Avatamsaka lecture, the Entering the Dharma Realm chapter of the Avatamsaka, just so folks can hear it. By comparison, our English version here was done by a fellow Midwestern, as Bhikshuni, actually, the previous Heng Yin, Lonnie Bauer, put melody to our English bell song. And it's representative of our approach to sacred music. So here we go. Bell sound wide resound throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. And if I were singing, this is what I would be singing. 众生传三千劫内，佛法让万亿国中，共训其法界和平，利益报他们后的。All right. So tune in tomorrow, 12:30, Australian Eastern Time. If you'd like to hear the monk who's singing the Zhongshengji is a senior monk at Hangzhou's Lingyin Si. So you all see on my desktop an image of Master Empty Cloud. Oh, I should mention. Last week, I was not sitting here at Gold Coast Dharma Realm when I gave the lecture, the Master Empty Cloud picture bio. I was at the home of a lay family who have all come here today. Why was that? It was because we were still in the dark last week. This time last week, we were power was still out after 10 days of tropical cyclone Alfred. So today we're back under our own Wi-Fi, but I wanted to mention our appreciation of our lay community for opening up their homes to monks who need to find shelter and need to find Wi-Fi and electricity. Okay, now we have something very special today, which is what? Notice there on the desktop, who is that? That is Master Empty Cloud. And the image shows that in the picture, he's 118 years old. 118. 118年, 118岁. So this is he, and you can see he's got his beads in his hand, He's missing, he's only got 9 fingers. He's missing 1 finger. We found out about that. He's sitting on a Chan bench. And this Chan bench, I can tell, is designed for hot weather. It's rattan. It's a woven natural fiber top, because China has, southern China is hot in the summer. And if you're meditating, you can just leave a puddle of water underneath your seat where you're sitting, because monks, when they meditate, are generating a lot of heat in their bodies. So he's on this rattan Chan bench. He's got his robe tucked under his knees, you notice. Guarantee he's sitting in full lotus with both feet up on the thighs. And he's got his shoes tucked underneath the bench. And he's got his recitation beads. He's wearing his monk's robe, the way all of the, right now I'm sitting with 3 bhikshunis, and there are 4 monastic Sangha members here in the hall today. We're all wearing our precept robes. And you're seeing this is called a model. This is a paragon. This is a role model of how a Chan monk should look when he is sitting. Never mind that he's a century and almost 2 decades old. He's sitting upright, and just this is a real Chan monk, right? You're looking at the real thing right there, sitting in a southern Chan hall where it's hot, and he's probably he's in deep samadhi. Now, what's unique about today's lecture is we have a video of Master Empty Cloud. Someone discovered a video that was taken, a movie that was taken at Yongquan Si, Flowing Spring Monastery, Bubbling Spring Monastery. I didn't get the year, but I think it was in the probably in the late 40s, early 50s, when this video was taken. And it's brief. It's a couple seconds, but you can see Master Empty Cloud, and in moving, you can see his surround, right? Okay, that's what we're going to show later on today. Let's get to our biography. Here he is. Last week we heard about Tanzhi Si, north of Beijing. So Master Empty Cloud is continuing his tour of Chinese sacred sites. This is called Dazhong Si, Guanguji, looking at historic sites at Dazhong Monastery. It is 1900. The Boxer Rebellion is in full swing. He is 61 years old, and it's the 26th year of the Guangxu reign period. In 11 years, the Chinese dynasty system ends. In 1911, the Republic of China was announced. So we're in the last decade of the Chinese dynastic system that lasted 5,000 years. Okay, are we ready? Here we go. This is not the words of the Buddha, so we don't put our palms together to this. 大宗寺观明朝耀广孝所著84000金铜钟，高与数层楼宇，牛高7尺，经1丈4尺，外注华严经全部，内法华经全部。尊圣咒全部，以金刚经所编，其牛楞严咒，为永乐帝监母而造也。Okay, there we go. Well done. It's nice to have a choir here together. It's good. Sounds good. The master viewed the 84,000-pound bronze bell, which was cast under the supervision of monk Yao Guangxiao during the Ming Dynasty. It's several stories in height. Its crown is 7 feet high. It's 14 feet in diameter. The entire Avatamsaka Sutra is cast on the outside, and the Dharma Flower Sutra, the lotus, and the Zunshang mantra in their entirety are cast on the inside. The Vajra Sutra is cast on the lip, and on the crown, the Shurangama mantra. It was offered by the Yongle Emperor for the sake of crossing over his deceased mother. So, did you get all those statistics? For what? For a bell that is so big, it requires several stories for the housing around the bell. In the Yongle Ming Dynasty, Yongle Emperor reign, a monk came up with the idea, or actually it was the Yongle Emperor himself said, "I want a bell," and he went to a monk whose name was Guangxiao, and he said, "Can you arrange it for me?" So the monk did. He cast a bell so big that the entire Avatamsaka Sutra, millions of characters, could be written on the outside. The entire Lotus Sutra, all 10 gen, could be written on the inside. And various other mantras, the Vajra Sutra, the Shurangama mantra, could be cast in characters outside. Now, by comparison, here at Gold Coast Dharma Realm, Avatamsaka or Shurangama Monastery, we have a bell that has the entire Shurangama mantra cast on it, and the bell is huge. It's a bell that you can stand up inside if you're 5 feet tall, and the characters outside it they look very ornate and very wonderful. When our bell is sounded, you can hear it all over the neighborhood. You can hear it echoing from the hills nearby. Now, you can see this artist's representation is not too far off reality. So what did Shifu give us as a poem to set off the story? He says, we ready? Here we go. 缅甸虽有大金塔，支那更有大铜钟，两者皆为历史物，神中失而复得名。Okay. Although in Burma, one can see the magnificent golden stupa, the colossal bronze bell of China is even greater yet. Both of these items are renowned by history. The special bell had been silenced, but it will ring once again. Okay, so this is, I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that as we're studying the life of this Buddhist monk, we're also getting like a travelogue, a tour of famous historic sites in China. All right. Hold on. Oh, sneak peek. Okay. In Beijing, this is the map. If I make it bigger, there we go. In Beijing, that's where the monastery is located, Dazhongsi. The Big Bell Temple used to be called Jueshengsi. Buddhist is located on the North 3rd Ring Road in the Haidian district in Beijing. So 1733, the Yongzheng Emperor, the temple was called this as the Yongle Dazhong, housed inside the temple. So in so sometime between 1368 and 1644 was when the bell was commissioned. The Chinese Academy of Science did a survey. They put microphones out, how far? 50 kilometers away from the temple in the depth of night, and rang the bell, and it could be heard. 120 decibels. So music experts, including Chinese Acoustic Institute, found the tone of the bell pure, deep, and melodious, as they say, with a sprightly rhythm. So when you ring a bell, it's got multiple frequencies. So I rang a bell that I just brought back from Taipei, and you could hear At the same time, there was a bong. There were different, kind of like the Mongolian throat singers. So what about this bell? 46 tons. 46 tons, 5.5 meters tall, 3.3 meters around. Not only the sound of it, but the fact that on the outside are these incredible sutras written, right? So how is that possible? This is not that bell. This is a much smaller bell from the Ming Dynasty that has a sutra written on it. So here is a sample, get an idea of what it might look like. Our Shurangama mantra bell, I think, is much nicer, but of course I'm partial. So this has trigrams from the I Ching. It's got seals scripts. This one is 4.5 centimeters. Hong Zhiren's in 1492. So this bell was made to commemorate, to accompany the big bell at Dazhongsi. Okay. All right. Now, when that big bell was cast, there was a stele. There was a bronze inscription that went along with it. It's Jue Sheng Si. It's called Jue Sheng Si Bei Wen. This tells the story. This is a Ming Dynasty stone inscription that talks about how the bell came about and what it was like. Now, the thing to know is the technology for, how do we get rid of you? Let's see, move you out of the way. There we go. There we are. The technology for creating a bell like this has been part of Chinese culture for centuries and centuries. And you don't cast it, to make a bell like this, you have to, it's genuine technology. And it's very easy to have it look just right, but sound terrible. Or you get it almost right, and then there's a crack. And it all has to do with controlling the heat that casts the bell. Whoever created the great bell at Dazhongsi did it just right. So that not only did it come out of the mold with the characters, and when you carve the characters that are going to be read right side up, you carve them backwards. It's got to be done mirror style, right, to get it just right. So it comes out of the mold. Not only that, did the characters all come out just right? And suppose you carved a character wrong. You start over. What do you, imagine? Oh, a typo. Oh, up about 10 feet up there. No, you can't do that. It's got to be perfect. But the amazing thing is that a bell that big sounds right. The fact that the sound came out just right is astonishing. Okay, here is the Huayuan Juehai. When you go into Dazhongsi, this is the housing for the bell. The bell is inside. So that's the companion bell. This is the pagoda that houses it. Here's the bei, the stele tells the story. Here's the monastery. So it's a very traditional monastery. You come in the main gate, the Shanman, and there's a gulo, a drum tower, and a zhonglo, a bell tower. You go through the four heavenly kings. These are various halls. Here is the Dashong Baodian. This is the main Buddha hall where ceremonies are done, and various offices and monks' residences. Here is the Guanyin hall. Keep on going. Here is the sutra library hall, and then the bell lives back here. This very standard temple architecture in Beijing that was made. And here's the story about the museum that houses all of this. Um, it's this is a protected cultural relic now. Um, so there's a museum there that talks about bell culture. Here's the museum. You can see this is pretty close to the size of our bell here at Shurangama Monastery, GCDR. They've got 3 of them. I've been here to see the bells, and it's just, I mean, this totally restructures your understanding of what a bell means. Okay, I have a bell here. Okay, and to create this little bell, which is just barely 1.5 inches across, is not easy. There's skill that goes into that, but you hold that up to these da qing, these giant bells, and every bell has its personality. The ringing of a bell can wake people up. It can, here, I want to show you. This is a map of Beijing. Here is the center. This is how far the bell goes when it's rung. This is a schematic of the area within which you can hear the bell ring in the city of Beijing. You're looking at a map of Beijing, and you could think of it as a bomb blast, right? The sound waves go out as it rings. 50 kilometers away, you can still hear the bell on a quiet night. So Master Empty Cloud, our pilgrim, took us there. Shifu gave us the story, selected this as one of the episodes in the picture biography. So how about that? Oh yeah, very cool. So I was saying the energy of bells is just incredible. There's a I don't know if we have any cinema files, any movie buffs here. There is a famous historical black and white film about a bell made in Russia. Anybody, if you're a cinema buff, you'll know about this. It was an amazing movie, probably 70 years old, an early day movie. I think it might even be a silent film made about a giant bell in Russia, commissioned by the Russian emperor. Similar kind of story, and how the man whose job was overseeing it nearly went crazy trying to get it all together in a time when it was fired by wood. So you have to think, back in the 14th century in the Ming Dynasty, how did you get the temperature to melt the metal just right? So when you poured it, it was even. And at that scale, that size, just mind-boggling how people think that China had no science, right? Not the case. All right, here we go. Next episode, are we ready? Let's see, how are we doing here? Okay, this is episode 117. Still 1900. What did he do next? 回城南龙泉寺住. Okay. Returning to Zhongnan, to the southern city and staying at Longquan Monastery. Okay. All right, here we go. 5月团乱易炽，以抚清灭洋为sorry， 我们再来，以抚清灭洋为号召，杀二使书记，得公使太后纵之。至17日，下诏与各国宣战，经大乱。6月，天津失。7月，联军陷北京，使王公大臣驻龙泉寺，乃圈公协以等随护必西行。Okay, big deal going on here. Ready? Okay, By the 5th lunar month, the Boxer Rebellion had intensified. Their motto was, support the Qing dynasty, eliminate the foreigners. The Empress Dowager had condoned the assassination of the secretary of the Japanese consulate and the German ambassador. On the 17th of the month, by imperial mandate, war was declared on the foreign powers. The capital was in tumult. The following month, Tianjin was lost, and a month later, Beijing fell to the foreign allied troops. During that time, the royal families and ministers who were staying at Longchuan Monastery urged the master to join the imperial retinue in its flight west. Oh boy, big trouble. Here is the image. He's got his pilgrim staff, he's got his rag robe, his monk's sandals. He's outside a monastery with ancient trees, and there's smoke on the horizon. That's our image from the artist. Okay, now what is the poem? Let's look at the poem. Ready? Here we go together. 清运江莫闹议和，八国联军入寇魔。或逼太后长安去，拥护圣驾有妥妥。The Qing dynasty faced ruin as the Boxers grew stronger. The allied armies of 8 foreign countries invaded like plundering demons. The Empress Dowager in dire straits fled to Chang'an in the west. One ascetic cultivator protected their royal majesties. Okay, now in explaining this, giving a context for this story is a challenge. I'm the storyteller, and I know online today we have a number of storytellers. Brian is here, okay. So this particular episode and this time in Chinese history was so turbulent. There were so many things happening that for me to pick of this, the things to highlight, it's for storytellers, it's an embarrassment of riches. For someone who only has about 20 minutes to pick and choose, it's a challenge to figure out what to share about what was going on. And I won't go wrong if I focus on the monks part in this. So from the point, let me take a step sideways and a step to the side and say that I think many people are unaware of China in the 20th century, the history of China in the 20th century. We know that there was a civil war between the communists and the nationalists, and we know pretty much Mao Zedong and the communists won, and Jiang Jieshi and the nationalists lost and fled to Taiwan. That's kind of the bigger picture. But in between, we're looking at such historical turning points as the end of the dynastic system. We can name Chinese emperors back thousands of years. We know the Shang and the Xia and the Sanguo and the Yin and all of then the Han. But we know about the Qin Shi Huang, the guy who built the Great Wall, right? That was the Qin dynasty. And the Yellow Emperor and all. Then there are legendary emperors back. Confucius loved the King of Zhou, the Duke of Zhou, right? Zhou Wenwang, you know, those are dynasties that go back 3,000 years, and we still remember them. All of that ended here. This is when the very last of the emperors emerged. And we know about one in particular, the male emperor's line was very weak. So who was in charge? The mother of the emperor. The mother of the emperor, Cixi Taiho. The Empress Cixi was the number one figure calling the shots from the imperial throne. And we know about her because why? Take a look. We're going to go back to here she is. Empress Cixi Taiho liked having her picture taken. We have many pictures of her in her imperial regalia. Here is what a Chinese empress looks like. 大清国当今慈禧瑞佑康鄂什么什么什么什么. There we go. Look at her fingernails. Check out her fingernails. There they are. She's got a mirror. She's looking at her own reflection. She's got offerings of fruit. Look at the screen behind her. You can't see her feet. They're bound feet. Check out her robe, her throne. Okay, and like this photo, there are hundreds of photos of the empress, including one that I saw today where she is playing in cosplay as Guanyin Bodhisattva. She's dressed as Guanyin Bodhisattva. She has a eunuch dressed up as Weito Pusa holding a Vajra pestle. So we know what she looked like. There are her feet, her shoes, right? So this is the power of China at its very, very, very end. Now, not to say it was her fault that it was lost. Notice behind her here it says, 大清国当今圣母, the sage's mother, Huang Taiho, 万岁万岁万万岁, 10,000 times 10,000 years, long life to the empress, okay? So not to say it was her fault. The seeds of the end were in place for a long time. It was probably time for the for reforms. This is a picture we saw 2 weeks ago. This is the wife of the American ambassador holding hands with the empress. A delegation from the American embassy in Beijing. And look at the little girl here, that she's probably a niece, royal family. Here we are, but check the empress. This is a woman with the lineage of 5,000 years of Chinese rulership on her shoulders. There are books written about her character, that she was indeed a powerful woman with a lot of strong character. And the fact that she is a woman as a regent sitting on the throne while her son and grandson get old enough to step into the rulership. Check out her robes, right? There they are. Now, being at any time, whether the dynasty is strong or weak, being on the dragon throne is no Sunday picnic. You know, it's difficult because you don't know who to trust. People take you as a divine being, as a god or a goddess. They're all looking for imperial favor. Everybody is there telling you exactly what they think you want to hear, so you will treat them nicely, right? Here's some eunuchs outdoors in the snow. This looks suspiciously like some monks that I know. I don't think that. So here, oh my goodness, right? So the empress liked to have her picture taken. She was an early adopter of technology. Now, that's kind of the background what am I looking at? I'm looking at a joint enterprise of MIT and Harvard called Visualizing Cultures, a wonderful website, highly recommended, visualizingcultures.mit.edu. And so along with this picture biography of the Empress Dowager, we have all these different uh, stories of by using pictures of Chinese history. So the Boxer Uprising, etc. Anyway, so the point is, being an empress is no bed of roses, and she, as we mentioned two years ago, particularly in Shandong, the northeastern part of China, a peasants, a popular uprising arose, and people who fortified themselves with mystical chants, with Kung Fu and Tai Chi and Wushu martial arts and homemade weapons, decided that the only way to save China was to get rid of Christianity and all foreigners. So this was the beginnings of the Yihe Tuan, Yihe Quan, the Boxers. And they set out burning churches, attacking any vestige of foreign influence in China. And they were patriotic. They said, support the Qing, get rid of the foreigners. And if you're the empress and you know that there's this popular uprising, what do you do? Who do you side with? Well, she sided with the Boxers at one point and said, yes, we'll assassinate the Japanese ambassador and the trade diplomat. But then she flipped and sent imperial troops against the Boxers. And things, depending on what advice she had from her advisors, she, at one point, the trouble around Beijing, the fighting in Beijing was so hot that the only solution for her was to run, was to evacuate Beijing. She did with her closest courtiers and the young emperor as well, on horseback and in carriages. Master Empty Cloud was invited to accompany them to keep the empress safe. Now, if being an empress, when you're not actually the empress, you're the regent, you're holding the throne on behalf of an emperor who is what, 8 years old, something like that. Suppose you're the monk who is known to be special, to have psychic powers, and they say, please come with us and keep the empress safe. What do you do? What decision do you make? Well, our hero, Master Empty Cloud's decision was accompany them, keep her safe, keep the Empress Dowager, the mother of the emperor, alive. So he traveled with them, not only out of Beijing, but they were at Longquansi. And this is a story that I don't know if it's been told in the West. There have been numerous Chinese movies about it. Just to give you an example, we'll go back to this MIT Harvard enterprise is telling the story of history through pictures. So they've collected all these incredible images. Down at the bottom of this is images of Chinese movies that have been made about Cixi Taiho over the years. It's an amazing collection. We don't have, here's her robe. let's see here, right? What it was like at the end. And yeah, the last tempest. So in China, there have been numerous attempts to portray this story. Not in the West yet. When that story is told, it will be epic because they snuck out under cover of darkness with the 8 root army, 八路军队，八路国军 chasing behind them. And it was no guarantee that they would succeed. They could have been caught by the boxers. They could have been caught by the invading armies, but they made it successfully. And Master Empty Cloud was there in the retinue, in the following of the empress, of course, reciting and chanting, and right, various attempts to capture this story on film. So we have this is Shifu's selection of this incredible it couldn't be more dramatic. This is a true life adventure with life and death on the line of the imperial family leaving Beijing. Right? So, man, oh man, pretty dramatic in the life of a monk. And it's important to mention that he did step into the story. He joined with the imperial convoy sneaking out of Beijing to save the life of the dynasty. 随缘不变，不变随缘, right? We accord the conditions, but do not change. And unchanging, we follow conditions. So, all right, there we go. That's the story. Now, I said at the beginning that we've got something very special today to share with everybody, something that I had never seen before, which is Master Empty Cloud on film. 1930, he's in Fuzhou at Gushan for a precept ordination, and we get to see Master Empty Cloud move, a moving picture. Now, he only shows up in 2 brief images, just a few frames, and it's about a minute plus. So I'll just let this run, and I'll stop it where he shows up. Okay, here we go. There he is. Recognize him by his goatee, right? There's Master Empty Cloud. He looks amazingly young, doesn't he? 1930. So he is, this is 30s. He passed away in 59, so 29, 30, 12, 20. So he's 90 as he's doing this. There he goes. An American woman has showed up to request Dharma. There she is. Okay, now this is Yongquan Si. This is a second video. He's transmitting precepts, and you see the long line of the monks who are going to ordain and the nuns. Then you see the various ceremony monks who are there. Then you're going to see banners. There's 4 or 6 banners, I guess, pairs of banners. And Master Empty Cloud is at the end of the line, and we get to watch him walk. Okay, so here we go. We're at Yongquan '寺 for the precepts. There he is. I gave it a long rundown and then jumped ahead. Here we go. We'll get the full drama. Here we go. All right. Okay, here's the procession. Okay, Yongquan Si. This is walking along. They're the monks. They're going to get their precepts. Okay, here are the banners. These are the, okay, I got to get my, there are the nuns. These are the young shamis. They're holding, they've been in training. They're about to get their ordination. Here are the banners in front of a ceremony monk, ready, coming along. There he is. How about that? A video presentation of Master Empty Cloud. You see the onlookers behind there? They're 凑热闹的，就有. Okay. One more time. Right there. Okay. Oops. Stop. I hit the edit arrow. And how do I get rid of the edit arrow? There we go. Back to the mouse. Okay. So that's the only moving picture of Master Empty Cloud I've ever seen. And what struck me was how young he looks. Just can't see a wrinkle. This video, this clip was discovered in an archive, just stuck in with other stuff, and nobody knew what it was until the Buddhist looked at it and said, look at that, you know who that is. So there we go. As I said, I just talked about just the tops of the waves, the stories of this time of China's turbulent 20th century would break your heart. There's an ocean of tears here, of cruelty, of heroism, of the possibility of China exiting the Opium Wars, and then having those hopes being trampled by 8 countries charging into China to divide it up. This is Harper's Weekly, 1900, an American magazine, The Dragon's Choice. Who is this? Look at Uncle Sam. Look at Uncle Sam's forearms. He's a tough, sleeves rolled up Uncle Sam. He's got a cannon in front of him. What's he looking at? He's looking at a dragon. China. Here is a view, an American view of China, which is, it's a terrifying, fire-breathing dragon who is he going to pick up peace, or is he going to go to, over here is war? This is an American view of China at the time. And so the here is a view of China. Look at the saintly wings like angels of the West with what? Christian cross, shedding light. And the angel has got a flaming sword in his hand. These are all angels with swords. They're going, these are warlike angels looking at what? The Buddha over in China, the demon, right? So here's a view in this cartoon. This is a cartoon from this is a European let's see, this is Harper's Weekly again, this is American. They're saying the yellow peril, right? Nations of Europe, join in the defense of your faith and your homes. The Buddha is going to attack your homes and destroy you, right? So this is where stereotypes and national hatreds are born. 1990, nobody knew. And so when the Americans, the Italians, the French, the Germans, the Russians, and the Japanese armies all arrived in China, they plundered and raped and pillaged and ran amok in China without the slightest control or humanity. So China's first impression of the West was the Westerners are the demons who are devoid of humanity, and they're just there to steal and to kill. There was no kindness whatsoever. So it's a mutual sense of mutual misunderstanding leading to mutual hatred. And you can see why we're at the point now where the West and China are still locked into this enmity and rivalry for control of the world. This is the source of it. Anyway, to have Buddhism be able to stand in the middle and to be able to say, there is another choice. There is another road, which is setting down, 不争, 不贪, 不求, 不自私, 不自利, no greed, no fighting, no seeking, no self-benefit, no dishonesty, right? There's another path. But is anybody ready to listen? I don't know. Meanwhile, see you all next week. Let's dedicate merit. Thanks for joining. This was the kind of storytelling you can do when you're talking about the Boxer Rebellion. Oh my goodness. We can dedicate merit to a peaceful future, looking at what the past, where the past has brought us to this point. Make a wish for a brighter tomorrow. May we live amongst as one and rain will bear the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, goodness, and pride. If people hear and see our hands and hearts can find unity, may our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, as wanders into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. And then before we go, we can bow to Guanyin Bodhisattva. And we'll just leave this image on because there's Shifu's image. Here we go. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. See you all next week for more of this exciting tale. Amitofo. Bye now.